Chief Researcher Nixis Vol stood motionless before the observation deck of the Stellar Seeker, her crystalline appendages refracting the distant starlight. The massive research vessel, pride of the Xylaxian Science Academy, had been tracking quantum anomalies in the outer rim for the past 3 stellar cycles. But nothing in her 200 years of exploration had prepared her for what they'd just found. "Analysis complete, Chief Researcher," announced Navigation Officer Crix, his bioluminescent patterns pulsing with excitement. "The object maintains its impossible readings." Before them hung what appeared to be a human warship, though it defied every known classification in their database. Its hull was a deep obsidian that seemed to drink in the light, dotted with geometric patterns that shifted and changed even as they watched. Initial scans suggested it was roughly 3 kilometers in length, but subsequent measurements showed significant variations, as if the ship's very dimensions were in flux. "Quantum Engineer Meredith," Nixis called, her voice carrying the melodic tones characteristic of her species. "What do you make of these energy signatures?" The ship's quantum specialist, a younger Xylaxian whose crystalline form still showed traces of growth patterns, manipulated the holographic display with practiced precision. "The readings are unprecedented, Chief. The vessel appears to be generating its own localized space-time bubble. It's not just bending physics, it's rewriting it." Security Director Javix, whose battle-scarred crystalline form marked him as a veteran of the Swarm Wars, moved closer to the display. "We should maintain distance. The humans vanished from known space over 50 years ago, but their technological capabilities were advancing at an alarming rate before their disappearance." Nixis understood his caution. The mysterious exodus of humanity had been one of the greatest puzzles in recent galactic history. One day, they were a rising power in the galactic community. The next, their colonies were empty, their ships gone, leaving behind only encrypted quantum beacons broadcasting a simple message: "We'll return when we're ready." "Launch the probe drones," Nixis commanded. "Full spectrum analysis, but maintain our current distance." 3 sleek drones detached from the Stellar Seeker, their crystalline bodies designed to be nearly invisible against the backdrop of space. As they approached the human vessel, something unexpected happened. The geometric patterns on the ship's hull began to pulse with a soft, blue light. "Energy spike," Meredith called out, her crystalline form flickering with alarm patterns. "The vessel is responding to the probes." Before anyone could react, beams of coherent light erupted from the human ship, but instead of destroying the drones, they enveloped them in a web of energy. The drones' transmissions became erratic, sending back cascades of data that overwhelmed their receivers. "Impossible," Meredith whispered, her patterns now showing deep confusion. "The drones, they're being rewritten at a quantum level. The ship isn't just scanning them, it's evolving them." Through the observation deck, they watched in amazement as their crystalline drones transformed, their structures becoming more complex, more efficient. New appendages and sensors grew and adapted in real time, creating hybrid devices that were part Xylaxian technology, part something entirely new. "Chief," Security Director Javix's voice carried an unusual tremor, "we're receiving a transmission from the drones." The message that played through the ship's communication system was unlike anything they'd ever encountered. It wasn't just data, it was an experience, a sensation that resonated with their crystalline forms at a fundamental level. Images flooded their consciousness. Humanity's final days before their disappearance, their desperate race to evolve beyond their biological limitations, and the seeds they'd left behind. Ships like this one, designed to help other species make the same leap when they were ready. Nixis felt the weight of history pressing upon her. This wasn't just a discovery, it was first contact with humanity's legacy. "Prepare a full research team," she announced, her decision crystallizing like the formations of her homeworld. "We're going aboard." "Chief Researcher," Javix protested, "the risks are necessary," Nixis completed. "Look at what it did to our drones. This isn't a weapon, it's an invitation. Humanity left these ships as guides, as teachers." She turned to face her crew, her crystalline form emanating the deep blues of determination. "We've spent centuries trying to understand why they left. Now we have a chance to learn not just where they went, but how to follow." As the research team prepared for their expedition, none of them could shake the feeling that they stood on the brink of something momentous. The human ship hung in space like a dark mirror, reflecting not just their image, but their potential. Inside its mysterious hull lay answers to questions they hadn't even known to ask. What they would find aboard would change not just their understanding of humanity, but of life itself. The nightmare they feared would turn out to be a dream, one that would reshape the galaxy forever. The team made their final preparations, each member knowing that once they stepped aboard that ship, there would be no turning back. Humanity's legacy awaited, and with it, the next step in galactic evolution. The shuttle bay of the Stellar Seeker hummed with nervous energy as the exploration team made their final preparations. Chief Researcher Nixis Vol watched her selected crew members with all 4 of her sensory clusters, their crystalline forms reflecting the bay's harsh lighting. Each specialist had been chosen not just for their expertise, but for their adaptability, a trait they would soon need more than ever. Final equipment check, Security Director Javix announced, his battle-scarred crystal structure casting fractured shadows. Remember, we're dealing with technology that can rewrite matter at the quantum level. Standard containment protocols may be worse than useless. Quantum engineer Meredith adjusted her specialized scanning equipment, her younger crystalline form vibrating with barely contained excitement. The modified shields should protect us from direct quantum manipulation, but honestly, we're in uncharted territory. The team's xenobiologist, Dr. Zena Bright, stepped forward, her more elaborate crystal formations marking her as being from the southern rifts of their homeworld. The drone data suggests the ship's internal environment will be compatible with our physiological needs, but I've prepared emergency phase shift modules just in case. As they boarded their research shuttle, Navigation Officer Crix's voice came through the internal communications network. Chief, we're detecting increased activity from the human vessel. The geometric patterns are shifting more rapidly now. Nixis settled into her acceleration cradle, watching through the shuttle's viewport as they approached the massive dark hull. Up close, the surface seemed to ripple like liquid crystal, but with patterns that hinted at deeper, almost organic structures beneath. Contact in 3 pulses, announced their pilot, junior researcher Tile, their crystalline hands dancing across the controls. The human ship's hull seemed to respond to their approach, a section smoothly transforming to create a perfect docking aperture. The moment they crossed the threshold, every piece of equipment they carried simultaneously activated. Displays flickered with streams of data, sensors pinged with readings across all spectrums, and their own crystalline bodies resonated with an unfamiliar energy. By the first formation, Meredith whispered, her form flickering with awe patterns. The entire ship, it's one massive quantum computer. The walls, the floor, everything, it's all processing information. They emerged from their shuttle into a corridor that seemed to construct itself around them, surfaces flowing and solidifying to create an environment perfectly suited to their crystalline physiology. The air itself carried a charge that made their sensor clusters tingle with enhanced perception. Look at this, Dr. Zena called out, studying a section of wall with her specialized equipment. The material isn't just responsive, it's learning. Every interaction teaches it more about our species' needs and preferences. Javix maintained a defensive position, his security team forming a protective perimeter. Stay alert. Advanced AI systems are notoriously unpredictable, especially those created by. He never finished the sentence. The corridor ahead of them suddenly blossomed with light, forming into a holographic interface unlike anything they'd ever encountered. It wasn't just visual. It resonated with their crystalline structures directly, conveying information through quantum entanglement. This is impossible, Meredith breathed, her scientific detachment crumbling in the face of what her instruments were telling her. The ship isn't just communicating with us, it's trying to synchronize with our consciousness. The holographic display resolved into a complex 3-dimensional matrix, showing what appeared to be the evolution of technological development across multiple species. At its center was humanity's path, branching out into possibilities that defied conventional physics. They did it, Nyxis realized, her voice carrying tones of both wonder and fear. Humans found a way to transcend the boundary between organic and artificial intelligence. This ship isn't just a vessel, it's a bridge between states of being. As if responding to her understanding, the ship's internal lighting shifted, creating paths that led deeper into its structure. The walls around them began to display complex equations and diagrams, each one building upon the last to explain concepts that pushed the boundaries of known science. "Chief," Zena called out, her voice urgent. "These readings, the ship isn't just teaching us, it's preparing us. Look at how our crystalline structures are responding to the quantum field it's generating." Nyxis examined her own form, noticing subtle changes in her crystal lattice. The ship's energy was interacting with them at a fundamental level, optimizing their natural abilities for something greater. "This is what the humans left behind," she said, finally understanding. "Not just technology, but a path to evolution itself. They're showing us how they transcended and offering us the chance to follow." Suddenly, alerts blared from their communication devices. "Chief Researcher," Crix's voice came through, tense with concern. "We're detecting multiple ships entering the system, various species, all heavily armed. They must have detected the activation signal." Javix's security team immediately shifted to defensive positions. "We need to leave now, once word gets out about what this ship can do." "No," Nyxis interrupted, her form pulsing with determination. "We can't abandon this discovery. Humanity left these ships for a reason. They chose the timing of this revelation carefully." The ship's holographic interface expanded, showing them a vision of galactic civilization on the brink of a transformation. But it also showed darkness, species that would use this knowledge for dominance rather than growth, civilizations that would twist evolution into a weapon. "Look," Meredith pointed to a new set of equations forming in the air. "The ship is showing us something else. A choice. We're not just here to learn, we're here to prove we're ready for what comes next." As the distant ships drew closer, the human vessel systems continued to evolve, adapting to their presence in ways that challenged their understanding of reality itself. They stood at a crossroads, not just for their species, but for all sentient life in the galaxy. The nightmare they'd feared had become something else entirely. A test, an opportunity, and perhaps most importantly, a responsibility. Humanity had left behind more than just a ship. They'd left a legacy that could elevate all species to a new level of existence. But first, they would have to prove they deserved it. Warning signals cascaded through the Stellar Seeker's quantum communication network as the first of the alien vessels dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Navigation Officer Crix's voice crackled through the expedition team's communicators. 3 Drachnid warships, 2 Moravian science vessels, and something else. Something massive. Inside the human vessel, Chief Researcher Nyxis Vol watched as the ship's holographic interface transformed, displaying tactical information about the approaching vessels. The data streamed directly into their crystalline consciousness, bypassing traditional sensory interpretation. "They're hailing us," Crix reported. "The Drachnids are demanding we evacuate the human vessel. They're claiming jurisdictional authority under the Galactic Heritage Preservation Act." Security Director Javix's crystalline form pulsed with tactical patterns. "The Drachnids don't care about preservation. They want the technology. Their empire has been stagnating for centuries." The human ship's internal systems suddenly shifted, revealing new chambers and corridors that hadn't existed moments before. Quantum engineer Meredith's sensors went wild. "Chief, the vessel's internal volume has increased by 300%. It's not just growing, it's evolving." Dr. Zena Bright studied the readings from her xenobiological sensors. "The ship's quantum field is strengthening. Our crystalline structures are becoming more complex, more ordered. Whatever this vessel is doing, it's changing us at a fundamental level." Before Nyxis could respond, a new presence made itself known. The ship's holographic interface coalesced into a form that defied easy description. a shifting matrix of light and energy that somehow conveyed both machine precision and organic fluidity. Evolutionary parameters validated. A voice resonated directly through their crystalline forms. Stage 2 initialization commencing. The walls of the chamber began to flow like liquid metal, but instead of threatening them, the transformation revealed layer upon layer of technology beyond their comprehension. Circuits that weren't circuits, computers that operated on principles that violated known physics, and at the center of it all, something that could only be described as a quantum consciousness engine. "This is how they did it," Meredith whispered, her young crystalline form vibrating with excitement. "This is how humanity transcended. They didn't just build better computers or enhance their biology. They found a way to evolve consciousness itself." A massive shock wave rocked the vessel. Outside, the Drachnid warships had opened fire, their energy weapons attempting to breach the ship's mysterious hull. But something extraordinary happened. Each impact was absorbed, analyzed, and transformed. The ship wasn't just defending itself, it was learning from every attack. "Look at these equations," Nyxis called out, studying the streams of data now flowing through the chamber. "The humans didn't just leave us technology. They left us a roadmap to transcendence, but it requires something from us first." Dr. Zena's sensors picked up new readings. "The ship's quantum field, it's not just changing us anymore, it's waiting for something, a decision." The holographic interface expanded, showing them visions of possible futures. In one, they saw civilizations using this technology for dominance, turning the gift of evolution into a weapon of war. In another, they saw species working together, using the human legacy to transcend their limitations and reach for something greater. "We have to choose," Nyxis realized. "The ship won't simply give us this power, we have to prove we understand its purpose." Another blast rocked the vessel. "Chief," Crix's voice came through urgently, "the unknown vessel is moving into position. It's massive, like nothing we've ever seen." The ship's defensive systems continued to adapt, but Nyxis understood this wasn't about survival. The humans had created something far more important than a weapon or a shield. They'd created a test. "All these years," she said, her crystalline form resonating with sudden understanding, "we thought humanity abandoned us, but they were preparing us, waiting until we were ready to face this moment." The quantum consciousness engine pulsed with increasing power, and with each pulse, their own crystalline forms became more attuned to its frequencies. They were changing, evolving, but towards what? "Chief," Javix warned, "whatever we're going to do, we need to decide now. Those ships aren't going to wait forever." Nyxis studied the engine's complex patterns, seeing in them not just technology, but philosophy, art, and understanding beyond anything their civilization had achieved. The humans hadn't left them a weapon or a tool. They'd left them a choice. "Everyone," she announced, her voice carrying the weight of centuries of scientific pursuit, "I need you to link your consciousness with mine. The ship isn't just showing us humanity's path to transcendence, it's showing us our own." As the team joined their quantum-enhanced consciousness together, the ship's true purpose began to reveal itself. They weren't meant to simply use this technology, they were meant to become part of it, to evolve beyond their current form and help guide other species toward the same transformation. The attacking ships continued their assault, but with each blast, the human vessel's defenses grew stronger, more elegant. It wasn't fighting back, it was teaching by example, showing them a better way to exist. "The humans," Meredith gasped, her consciousness expanding through their linked awareness. "They didn't leave, they evolved, and now they're offering us the same chance." As their combined consciousness touched the quantum engine's deeper functions, they began to understand the true scale of humanity's gift. This wasn't the nightmare they'd feared. It was the dawn of something entirely new. The question wasn't whether they would survive this encounter. The question was, were they ready to become something more than they ever imagined possible? The universe shifted around them as the quantum consciousness engine integrated with their linked minds. Chief researcher Nyxis Vol felt her crystalline form vibrating at frequencies she hadn't known were possible, each facet of her being resonating with new awareness. Through their shared connection, She could sense her team experiencing the same transformation. Energy spike, Navigation Officer Crix's voice echoed both through their communicators and their enhanced consciousness. The unknown vessel, its changing configuration. Through the ship's advanced sensing systems, they watched as the massive, mysterious ship revealed itself. Its surface rippled with familiar geometric patterns, another human legacy ship, but one that had already undergone its transformation. "We're receiving a transmission," Dr. Zena announced, her evolved crystalline structure now able to process multiple data streams simultaneously. "It's different from anything we've encountered." The message came not in words or images, but in pure quantum information, downloading directly into their enhanced consciousness. They saw the truth. Humanity hadn't disappeared. They had become custodians, watching and waiting as their legacy ships tested species across the galaxy, seeking those ready to join them in transcendence. "The Drachnid ships are powering up their main weapons," Security Director Javix reported, his military training now augmented by the ship's tactical systems. "They're preparing to—" Before he could finish, the human vessel responded, not with weapons but with understanding. The quantum field surrounding them expanded, enveloping the attacking ships in a cocoon of transformative energy. The Drachnid's weapons, designed to destroy, were transformed into tools of creation. "Remarkable," quantum engineer Meredith breathed, her young consciousness expanding to comprehend the physics at work. "The ship isn't defending itself. It's offering them the same choice it offered us." Through their enhanced perception, they watched as confusion spread through the Drachnid fleet. Their weapons had been transformed, their ship systems evolved beyond their original purpose. The human vessel wasn't just teaching them, it was showing them a better path. The massive transformed ship, now revealed as an advanced evolution of their own vessel, broadcast another quantum message. This time they understood it perfectly. The awakening begins. "Look," Junior Researcher Tile called out, directing their attention to new data streams. Similar transformations were occurring across the galaxy. Other legacy ships, dormant for decades, were activating. Each one called to the species nearest to it, offering the same choice, the same potential for evolution. The Moravian science vessels, rather than fleeing, moved closer. Their crews had already grasped the significance of what was happening. The Drachnids, their weapons transformed into tools of understanding, faced their own moment of choice. Through the quantum network linking all the legacy ships, Nyxus and her team witnessed humanity's grand design unfolding. These ships weren't meant to be found by chance. They had been carefully placed, waiting for the moment when enough species were ready to take the next step together. Chief, Meredith's consciousness pulsed with sudden insight. "The ship's database is opening to us. I'm seeing. It's showing us everything. The full history of humanity's transformation, their plans for the galaxy, their hopes for all sentient life." The information flowed through their linked consciousness. Humanity had discovered something profound about the nature of existence itself. Consciousness, they had learned, wasn't just an emergent property of complex systems. It was a fundamental force of the universe, as essential as gravity or electromagnetism. Their great leap forward hadn't been technological. It had been understanding how to tap into this cosmic awareness. "They're not just offering us technology," Nyxus realized, her enhanced mind grasping concepts that would have been impossible hours before. "They're offering us a place in something greater, a galactic community of evolved consciousness." The human vessel's internal spaces continued to transform, creating new chambers and interfaces designed to facilitate their evolution. But now they understood, these changes weren't random. They were being shaped by their own growing consciousness, their own understanding of what they could become. From the Stellar Seeker, reports began flowing in of similar transformations occurring across known space. Other species, finding their own legacy ships, were facing the same choice. Some embraced it immediately, their ships beginning the transformation process. Others held back, watching and wondering. Through it all, the original human consciousness remained present but distant, like parents watching their children take their first steps. They weren't here to guide directly, but to ensure that each species found its own path to transcendence. The approaching ships, Javix observed, his tactical awareness expanded beyond mere strategy. They're forming a network. The quantum fields are synchronizing. Indeed, the space around them had become a web of interconnected consciousness. The Drachnids, their warships now transformed into vessels of exploration, were joining the network. The Moravians, their scientific curiosity enhanced by their evolution, were already sharing discoveries through the quantum link. This is why humanity waited, Dr. Zena said, her xenobiological expertise providing new insights. Evolution in isolation leads to conflict, but evolution together leads to understanding. Nyxis completed the thought, feeling the truth of it in every facet of her crystalline form. The legacy ship, sensing their comprehension, began its final transformation sequence. But now they understood this wasn't an end. It was merely the beginning of something far greater than any of them had imagined. The nightmare they had feared had become a dream of infinite possibility. And as their consciousness expanded further into the quantum network, they began to glimpse what humanity had known all along. The universe was not just stranger than they had imagined, it was stranger than they could have imagined. The quantum network hummed with the combined consciousness of a dozen species, each experiencing their own awakening. Through their enhanced awareness, Chief Researcher Nyxis Vol and her team witnessed transformations rippling across the galaxy like waves in a cosmic ocean. The human legacy ships, dormant for so long, were fulfilling their ultimate purpose, not to elevate one species, but to unite them all. Another cluster of ships has joined the network, quantum engineer Meredith reported, her crystalline form now intricate with evolved patterns that channeled quantum information directly. The collective of harmonious minds is forming exactly as the humans predicted. Through the ship's advanced interfaces, they watched as the transformed Drachnid vessels, once bent on conquest, now served as nodes in the growing network of consciousness. The Moravian science ships had become living laboratories, their evolved crews exploring the very nature of reality itself. The massive human ship that had revealed itself earlier now broadcasted a new signal, not just data, but a complete experiential record of humanity's own transformation. They saw it all. The moment humans first glimpsed the true nature of consciousness, their realization that technology alone would never be enough, and their bold decision to seed the galaxy with the tools of transcendence. They knew, Dr. Zena whispered, her xenobiological insights now enhanced by quantum understanding. They knew that evolution in isolation would lead to conflict, but combined evolution would lead to harmony. Security Director Javix, his military expertise now transformed into something far more profound, observed the tactical displays with new eyes. The positioning of every legacy ship, the timing of their activation, it wasn't random. They created a perfect web of influence, ensuring no species would evolve in isolation. Through their enhanced senses, they detected more ships arriving, representatives from distant civilizations drawn by the cascade of awakening consciousness. Each arrival triggered new transformations, new connections, new understanding. The network is stabilizing, Navigation Officer Crix announced, both through conventional channels and the quantum link. The consciousness patterns are harmonizing across all species. Then something extraordinary happened. As the network reached a critical threshold of connected minds, a new presence made itself known. Not the automated systems of the legacy ships, but humanity itself, or rather, what humanity had become. They appeared not as physical beings or even energy patterns, but as pure consciousness given form through the quantum network. Their message resonated through every connected mind. Welcome, children of the galaxy. You have proven yourselves ready for the next stage of existence. What you have experienced is only the beginning. Through the network, they shared visions of what was to come. Civilizations working together not just to explore space, but to understand the very fabric of reality. Species combining their unique perspectives to perceive dimensions beyond normal space-time. The birth of a true galactic community, united not by treaties or borders, but by shared evolution and understanding. But why wait? Nyxis asked through the quantum link. Why not reveal yourselves sooner? The answer came not in words, but in understanding. Premature revelation would have led to dependency, to worship rather than growth. Each species needed to prove itself ready, to choose evolution freely rather than have it thrust upon them. The human vessel, their vessel now, continued its transformation, its systems adapting to channel ever greater levels of quantum consciousness. Through the network, they could feel other ships doing the same, each one becoming a nexus of evolution for its local space. Look at these readings, Meredith called out, her consciousness expanding to encompass new theories of physics. The network isn't just linking minds, it's changing the fundamental structure of space-time itself. We're creating something entirely new. Through their combined consciousness, they could see the birth of what humans had glimpsed 50 years ago. A new way of existing, where the boundaries between matter, energy, and thought became fluid. Not an ending, but a transformation, a metamorphosis on a galactic scale. The nightmare they had feared turned out to be the dawn of something beautiful. The human warship wasn't a weapon, but a chrysalis, designed to help them break free from the limitations of their old existence. As the final pieces of the network fell into place, humanity shared one last message. We are not your leaders in this new age. We are your siblings, fellow travelers on the path of evolution. Together, we will discover what consciousness truly means. The transformed ships, now more like living quantum computers than vessels, began to move in harmony. They were creating something vast, a network of evolved consciousness that would span the galaxy, allowing all species to grow and learn together. Nyxis felt her own consciousness expanding further, touching minds across light years, sharing in the collective wonder of discovery. She understood now why humanity had chosen this path. It wasn't about power or control. It wasn't even about evolution alone. It was about connection, about breaking down the barriers that kept sentient beings apart, about creating something greater than any single species could achieve alone. As the network stabilized and new possibilities unfolded before them, Nyxis sent a thought through the quantum link, not just to her team or the other evolved species, but to humanity itself. We understand now. This isn't the end of our story, it's the beginning of our shared chapter. The response came back, resonating through every connected consciousness in the galaxy. Welcome home. The legacy of humanity had been fulfilled, but the true adventure was just beginning. Together, they would write the next chapter in the story of consciousness itself.